Wow! I started cash stuffing. The next few weeks were a blur of counting dollars and making small but painful sacrifices. I cut out takeout completely. No more Friday night dinners with friends. No more mindless splurges at the grocery store. It was just me, my cash envelopes, and this singular drive that gnawed at me every time I opened the fridge to see leftovers from last night's dinner. But here's the thing. They didn't feel like sacrifices anymore. Every time I said no to something, it was because I was saying yes to myself, to my future. Each dollar that didn't disappear into a coffee shop or fast food place went straight into my emergency envelope. And for the first time, I started to feel like I was in control. Like maybe, just maybe, I was turning the corner. There were still moments, though, when the pull of my old habits came back to haunt me. One afternoon, Jess from accounting called out across the office. "Hey Sarah, wanna grab lunch with us? New sushi place down the block." The words felt like temptation itself. I looked down at my dining out envelope. There were just 2 wrinkled bills in there, and I had plans to use them later. My stomach growled at the thought of a fresh sushi roll. "I can't today," I said, forcing a smile. "Got to stick to my budget." Jess raised an eyebrow, clearly confused. "Come on, just this once. It's only $20. Only $20. It was like she didn't get it. But I did. I knew what $20 could mean. It could mean gas in my car for a week, groceries to get me through Sunday. So I shook my head. "Maybe next time," I said, hoping next time would come when I wasn't counting every single dollar. I felt the sting of missing out as they left without me. But when I got home and added another $10 to my emergency fund, I felt something else. Pride. It wasn't much, but it was mine. 2 months in, I had managed to squirrel away $650. I was so close to my goal, I could almost taste the relief. I had plans to celebrate. Maybe just a little splurge. Something small to reward myself for all the hard work. But life never waits for celebrations, does it? One morning, I opened my email and saw it. The message from my landlord. Rent's going up. Not by a lot, but enough to make me freeze in place. The old panic creeping back into my chest. Just like that, everything I'd been working for felt like it was slipping through my fingers. I wanted to scream, cry, run away from it all. How was I supposed to handle this? The rent increase meant I would have to take money out of my precious emergency fund, and that felt like failing. But then I remembered. This was why I had started. This was what the fund was for. I sat at the kitchen table, shaking a little as I counted out the bills from my rent envelope, then pulled just enough from my emergency fund to cover the increase. When it was done, I stared at the remaining cash in the envelope. $500 left. I'd been hit, but I wasn't down. Not this time. I'd planned for this. I'd prepared for it. And when the storm came, I was still standing. The realization hit me like a wave of relief. I didn't have to panic. I could breathe. Another month passed. I watched the cash pile up, slowly but steadily. Each sacrifice, each lunch packed, each invitation I turned down, it all added up. And then one Friday evening, sitting at the same kitchen table where I had once felt so overwhelmed, I counted the cash in my envelope one last time. $1,000. I had done it. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or scream. My hands shook as I held the bills, my heart pounding in my chest. $1,000. It felt like a miracle. Not because of the money itself, but because of what it represented. I wasn't helpless anymore. I wasn't at the mercy of my next paycheck or a sudden bill I couldn't cover. I had created something for myself, something real and strong. And then, for the first time in months, I cried. Not out of frustration, not out of fear, but out of pure, unfiltered relief. I could finally let go of the constant fear that something would go wrong and destroy everything, because now I knew I could handle it. This wasn't just about the cash in the envelope. It was about power. It was about control. I'd built something with my own 2 hands, dollar by dollar, and no one could take that away from me. I sat there for a while, just staring at my victory, letting the weight of it sink in. But I knew I couldn't stop here. This was just the beginning. There were other things I wanted to achieve, goals I hadn't even allowed myself to dream about before. Now that I had my emergency fund, it was time to think bigger. What's next? I wondered, already feeling that familiar fire stirring inside me again.